Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Chronic Health Collective. Your fresh start begins here. We've gathered powerful coaches and experts to help you reclaim your energy, heal from the inside out, and step into a life that feels vibrant, aligned, and deeply fulfilling. If you're ready for better health, stronger relationships, and more purpose, you're in the right place. I am Kristy Boyd Johnson, and today I am joined by, excuse me for my dyslexic mouth here, Dawn Omalza at Emotional Alchemy, which she's a beautiful soul if you haven't seen Dawn before, and Leandra Frey, life and dating coach extraordinaire. And our topic today is we are going to talk about when you are going into relationships, and we're kind of talking dating relationships here. And if you're coming out of any kind of an abusive situation, there's a lot of emotional healing that needs to happen to get out of fight, flight, freeze. So we're going to blend Leandra and Dawn's expertise and see what happens. So let's get started. Welcome, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I love this combination because I always learn something new from Dawn and Kristy. So I think we did we've talked about relationships, but this is going to be fun regarding new relationships.
New relationships, yes.
Yeah.
So especially if you're in the middle age years, it's different when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
Once you're after 40, it's a whole different experience. So first of all, let's talk about, we're coming out of a divorce, and really it could not even be an abusive situation. It could just be, it wasn't right anymore and it wasn't working, but there's still a lot of emotional stuff that needs to be dealt with. So Dawn, what would you suggest for ways to kind of maybe accelerate the process? I don't mean like, oh, bing, bang, boom, we're done healing, but not having to suffer with so much pain for so long anymore.
So I think when we get out of a relationship that didn't work out as we had expected, right? There's one of two things happen. We either sit in what I always call the valley of despair for too long, or we completely ignore our grief and we just pick up and we move on and make another mistake again. Right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
right.
True.
And so you end up in another relationship that could be, your rebound or whatever you call it. And then there's the third one is where do you find the right balance? And I don't think there really is. You're either going to fall in one spectrum or the other. So either way, I would say, the first thing that we just have to allow ourselves is to really let us feel and grieve that detachment, right? Because it's just been a part of our lives. And even if, depending on how that conversation went or how that breakup ended, once you're alone by yourself and you realize that person is never coming back or walking through that door again, and you're going to be having dinners alone and going to birthday parties or family dinners by yourself, and you're going to have all these people asking you those questions, that's when it really hits you. And so we just have to allow ourselves to have that time. And I also think that it would be good to, you kind of know when something is going to end, so give yourself that emotional prep to know what is going to happen on the aftermath. If you're not mentally ready for it, I wouldn't say stay, but give yourself a little bit more time to work on that part so that you can handle that additional stress. Because even if it's just between you and one individual, we sometimes forget it affects everyone else's lives around us.
Yeah.
So just giving yourself that time to grieve, go through the process, or number one, prepare yourself for what's to come, so that you don't doubt yourself and the decisions that you've made that led you down this new path, right? So that would be my thing, is just giving yourself that time. The other thing I would say is, know who you are, and that's why personal development is an ongoing process. It's not something you just do when you hit rock bottom, pick yourself up, and then you function again. Like, you just have to always be prepared for no matter what situation, because sometimes you never even know when it's gonna hit you, and it's just like you think everything is peachy keen, and next thing you know, this person just turns their back on you and they're like out the door. So yeah, I mean, those are my two things to just get yourself started, and then of course there's so much other stuff we can deal with and advise you on.
Yeah.
I love giving yourself the space to grieve. I think it's hard for people coming out of abusive relationships to think in terms of grieving, because there's this pressure that you should be feeling so good to be away from the abuse, which you might, in fact. But it also might go like this, where sometimes you feel good and then other times you're grieving. But we have to acknowledge that we're grieving the loss of something maybe that we thought it was going to be, and then it turned bad. And give ourselves credit for having the strength to leave the situation.
Yeah, and when we say we've lost someone, when we use that frame of losing something, then we go, our bodies instinctively want to go look for it again.
Oh,
That's interesting.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
How can we reframe that?
Yeah.
I don't know, a new beginning. I don't know, but I haven't figured that one out. But it's the same like when someone says, "Oh, you go on a diet, right?" And I lost weight, and people, they do well, and then they fall off the tracks, and then they regain that weight again. It's because of that frame of losing something within yourself. And so we have to find that word a different perspective, so that we don't think we've lost something that actually was good for us to have detached from, right?
Yeah.
Choosing to let go,
Yeah.
maybe something along those lines.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll say honor the memory of what you had versus I lost.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, a lot of people forget to honor the memories that were there, good or
Right.
bad, because there were good memories. A lot of these marriages, we focus on the bad, but then we're like, I lost this, or I lost my house, or I lost, right? They go on this thing, and I'm like, also, yeah, you're grieving, but also remember the time and honor
The journey, the good stuff. Yeah, I agree.
They just say, oh, the 20 years was gone, and I'm like, that's not true.
Yeah.
But it's easy because that language is pervasive.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So we're going to turn that around on this show.
Yeah. It is true. But I was going to echo a lot of what you said, the two spaces that I find, especially on the dating side, it's exactly those two spaces. The valley of despair, where people come out of, and they stay there, like their valley of despair, and then we recover ourselves and then say this is okay, and then we just want to stay here because then we think anything else is terrible, right? Terrible. So then we just stay stagnant. So those are the places that I've seen that, and then the rebound is a real thing. So I was just telling someone that was close to me that's going through a divorce, similar to what you just said, Dawn. It looked like it came out of nowhere, and they were just kind of, rug was pulled from underneath them. But it was a guy, and I was telling them, I was like, give yourself a year from after the date of the divorce, right? And I said, not while you're separated, not while you're waiting for the papers, Not when you think y'all have been separated and waiting for the house to sell. I was like, you wait a whole year or you're going to end up in a relationship that is not the right one because you were busy on the rebound trying to make yourself feel better when you haven't spent the time to what you were saying, Dawn, to really grieve and say goodbye and honor the memories of what they had. But he was like, okay, I'll try. I was like, I promise you, but I was like, no one else is going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. So it's tough. It's tough.
I wonder, do you think it's tougher for men than it is for women to do that? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's tougher. What'd you say? It's tougher for men to wait a year? Oh, yeah.
Wait a year.
I mean, I might as well have been talking to Greek to this guy. And and I've had other men where they ask me for help, and I say, are you divorced yet? Or this thing signed? Well, but I met this really nice lady. I'm like, I don't care. But yeah, it's instinctive. It's very instinctive. So to go just find the next person, and you would see it in high school, right? Like who recovered faster because everyone's is out there to see. And now you're grown up or in your 40s or whatever, but you can. It's not. It's not for everyone to see, but that instinct is still there to who can find who can be married faster, who can be dating faster, and men are competitive, and some women get in trouble too. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, when you ask that question, poor guys. But
I think it's an ego-driven thing too when it comes to the males, and it may not be for everyone, right? But it's like the quicker that they can rebound, it's like that's their way of revenge to the person that did exit their lives to say, I'm fine. You didn't hurt me. I'm fine. I moved on.
yeah, exactly.
And you really didn't. And then you go into another relationship and you're trying, you know where you've faulted in the previous one, and so when the new person comes along, you paint a fake facade of yourself to right those wrongs. And then years later, and you're like, oh, guess what, this is not who I really am. Or even months later.
And consider the damage of that, because the new relationship doesn't know that. And so there's the damage to yourself for not acknowledging and working through and healing yourself, and then the damage to the other person. Or in the case of leaving a narc, they just jump it back in with another narc because that love bombing starts, and that's what they're used to, and they feel it, and it's come on.
Well, and especially a woman, I don't know, but a woman would be more susceptible to a narc if they were married to a narcissist, and then they don't take the time to recover. Then they're going to go back to that same pattern and be easily susceptible to attracting that again when to be there. So
because they probably haven't even recognized that they were a victim of someone who's a narcissist.
And men, and I'm going to use my own brother as an example. He's on his third. He leaps right back in, and his rebounds are narcs too. And he never took a moment to heal anything. And the pain killing of being in another relationship he couldn't deal with it, and now he's and the other thing about men is they don't believe they can be brainwashed, or at least in his case.
I didn't even think about that.
I can't be brainwashed. You're crazy. Okay.
Yes, I would agree.
So with men, generally speaking, not all men, but there is an ego attached. We all know that. All right, ladies, let's take a pause here for a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to go a little deeper into this topic. So stay tuned, everybody.
Hi, I am Leandra Frey. I am a life and dating coach. I help women that have gone through a divorce, widowhood, or if it's been a long time since they in a relationship, I help them get back on their feet, gain courage and confidence to get back into the dating world and find the love of their lives in 6 months or less. The reason I do this is, having been divorced myself, I have been out in the world, the dating world, what I would call the gauntlet. And it can be hard when you've come off a divorce, or you've come off a long time breakup, and you find yourself starting and stopping, starting and stopping. And sometimes you stop and many years can go by. And so what I'm here to do and help you is to help you along the way so that you don't give up on yourself, and that we learn to create resilience in your dating so that you can keep going and not waste 5, 7, 12 years of your life thinking there's no one out there for you. There are many people out there for you. There is someone looking for you today. So that is why I do what I do, because I love bringing people together, because we are all created for love and connection.
If you were born between December 22nd, 1973 and January 1974, this message is for you. You're entering one of the most powerful energetic windows of your lifetime, your Chiron return. The Chiron return is a cycle where the wounds we've carried for decades rise to become our greatest wisdom. 2026 is your year of preparation, a time to release what no longer resonates, rebuild your energetic foundation, aligned with your truth, because in 2027, everything changes. I'm Dawn, and I'm just like you. I've lived the perfectionism, the control, and been accused of being emotionally detached. And I've learned that they were never flaws, they were survival codes. Now they're being rewritten. We'll use tools like quantum evaluation, creative emotional wizardry, and principles of parallel realities to help you shift timelines, from exhaustion to embodiment, from structure to sovereignty. 2026 is a year of preparation, and 2027 is a year that everything changes. And you, the Capricorn women born in 1974, are the architects of that new era. I'll see you in my Zen Heart community as we realign, recalibrate, and get ready for what's unfolding.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Chronic Health Collective show. I'm here with the amazing ladies Dawn and Leandra, and we are talking about relationships, healing, and moving into something better. So Leandra, this time I'm going to start with you.
Yeah.
So let's say, hey, we've come out of a relationship. It was either good, bad, indifferent, whatever form that was, and we really worked to do some healing. And we're ready to start. We've taken that year, and we're ready to start getting back in. And here's my question is, how can we do that in a way? And then, Dawn, what do we do if we start feeling those old things coming up and we realize it's affecting this new dating situation? Think about that.
Yeah, Dawn would be very helpful.
Call Dawn.
Stay on the date. Don't wander off. So how would you approach, okay, I'm ready, it's been a year. And I've had, I've had women that they say, we'll start with you in a year, and then they show up, and I was like, okay. I think, the first thing is going to be values, right? We're going to be looking for values. Most people want to start with what didn't work, right? They'll say, well, this didn't work. And so we have to gear their brain, very similar to what we did with losing, right? Is what do we want to gain? Who are we looking for? We understand what didn't work, but we still want to be putting our brain on what are we looking for? And so, so that's values, but also I call them green flags, right? Our brain is and again, I wore this green, and my article this month is about green flags. So how can we start getting our brain to look for what is aligned with who we are, right? And doesn't align with the past, because we want to go toward the past, and that's probably where Dawn can speak more to, but learning to identify what is working. Now, part of the issue with, especially when we've been dating someone narcissistic, or we're coming out of an abusive relationship, is there's been some drama. We've been on the cycle that does this, right? We're like, oh my gosh, right? We've been on that. And we haven't learned to even equalize our equilibrium. Like, just, hey, how do we just be normal? Like, have a normal life. And so we might end up dating someone that is normalizing, right? Is a normal guy, a normal person. But our brain won't like it, because we're so used to the ups and downs of like, oh my gosh, our past, he was shining his light on me, or he was pissed, or I'm walking on eggshells. And finally we have someone that none of that's happening, right? And it almost is boring. It almost looks boring. And the problem with that is, like, that's the part where we might be missing it. That's a green flag. We have someone that is, consistent, steadfast, all those things, right? So one of the things that I try to teach is, like, let's look for the green flags. Let's look for who is honoring their word, who really means what they say. And I know we want to look for, okay, they're not love bombing, not doing the not things, but let's look for the things that they are doing well, right? Versus the negative things. And the work that, so we kind of miss the boring, and we equate it with, there's no spark, right? A lot of times women will be like, there's no spark, and I want to go blame the romantic comedy industry on all of that. Yep. So, Kristy and I have had past conversations where, like,
the Hollywood version of love.
I know. I'm like, this is not what we want, right? We want steady and boring. But so the thing is, sometimes our brain is so geared toward the drama that we create it, right? And so, Dawn, this is where probably we'll need your help, but I've had women where something will go wrong on a date, like, everything is going well, and then something will, like, the person will say something, they'll do something, and then they're out. They literally are like, oh, my phone's ringing. It's not ringing.
Checked out.
And so I'll be like, wait, how long did the date last? They're like 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh my God. And sometimes they're valuable. There's some things where, okay, we need to end a date. That's not a problem, but we also need to, like, okay, how can we move through that discomfort and keep learning to something about if this person's the right person? Because we make that one negative thing so the person. And a person is multifaceted. People we have different dynamics all the way.
Leandra, we've lost your audio. It's very faint.
Oh no, I don't know what happened.
Oh, you're back.
There.
Oh, I moved away. Sorry, guys. Okay. I was just saying, like, what would be valuable to Dawn is, like, how can we not, like, check out of a date, right? And, like, now, I get there's times where it's like, this person is not the right person, but we still need to investigate and get to know someone before we say, oh, that one negative thing is their only thing, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're not also we're not very good either. Like we have some things that are not so nice because we're messy human beings, and how to like move out of that and say and learn to ask the right questions, because sometimes we'll attach meanings to things that aren't happening. So, but yeah, learning. I always say learning to be curious on a date instead of assigning our past to it.
Oh, I like that. That's future looking.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the challenge is that before we even start to date again, I think if we really are prepared for it, we have to be fair to the next person that we're welcoming into our life. So already we know for 100% what we don't want out of the next relationship, right? Or even the individual. And sometimes we focus too much on looking for that than looking for the good qualities in the individual, and so we completely miss that. And then, but if I were to ask the individual, well, what is it, what do you want out of your next relationship, if you cannot even answer that, you should not be dating.
True story.
Take
Right?
longer than a year.
Yeah, then you need a little bit longer than a year. And getting into the emotional in your body, like check in with your body too.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if some, because your friends or whoever, your family, they're going to be like, oh, I know so and so, they might be a good match for you. And then kind of check in with your body and feel like, where in your body you feel a sensation? Like, is it in your heart? Is it in your gut? Is it like in your face? Like, if it's in your heart, there's still some heartbreak. That's just like the most common sense thing. Like, if you feel it here, you're still heartbroken, or your heart chakra is blocked, you're not gonna let anyone perfect for you in. So again, you should not even be dating at all. And then, even like in your gut, like you also have to know not only what you want from the other individual, but what are you yourself, are you willing to give to this next relationship as well? Because you can't go in half-baked, right? You have to be able to meet this person halfway as your authentic self. And, also, as we work on ourselves and we're the better version of ourselves, then we'll be attracting better people.
Yeah, we forget that, don't we?
Yeah.
We forget that because we do what you said, Leandra. We attach our past to it. And we forget that we're different now. And we're going to attract different people. That's an important thing. That one hit me right here.
No, that's true, because you yourself in the next relationship that you get into, right, Kristy, you don't want to be judged in the same way that the previous relationship, and you carry that with you. And so that's where you need the work, whether it's counseling or even doing the type of emotional wizardry stuff that I do with emotional clearing that can help remove that. Because sometimes those things that you're feeling may not even be your emotional trauma. It could be from the other person that got attached to you. It could be trauma from even your ancestors, some kind of trauma that your mother, and it's carrying with you. Our organs have memory. That's why they talk a lot now about heart coherence, is because they have studies where this one gal who got a heart transplant right before, the person that she got the heart transplant from actually was sexually abused by someone, and that's how she lost her life. They transferred the heart over to her. The heart had memory in that, and when she awoke, she was having all these nightmares. And so they asked her to draw, they give the image of the person, and it was of the person that abused that gal. So if it can work that way, so when you read about stuff where you inherit things from your ancestors, it's in your DNA. Yeah, it can. It's all emotional energy. And so, yeah, I mean, okay, we're kind of getting a little bit metaphysical here, but
Yeah.
So
No.
maybe I'm just giving you another excuse to feel it's okay to feel crazy. I know.
No, but that's good. And by the way, when you talked about the heart coherence, my mom, she had a lung transplant of I think it was a 19-year-old. And
Oh.
he had never, apparently he drank, he was a football player, but he had a lot of coffee. He liked coffee. And my mom never
Oh.
drank coffee, and all of a sudden she had this new craving that she had never had before. Now that was a simple one, not as much as I've heard that part of that story, but when you were talking about the heart, if we're ready, I have this monthly in-person dating Q&A where women come and talk if they're ready and prep them if they're not, or or if they had a date, we deconstruct it. So it's a great support community for women. We had this one that she'd been coming for a while. She was like, I'm not ready to date, I'm just here to get a feel for everything. So we're like, okay, cool, like not a problem. This is where you get support. And finally she opened up. It's almost a year, maybe 2 years from her divorce. And she asked a question that was, well, how do I know if I'm ready to date? And then she went on to describe her ex-husband had moved down the street from her with his new wife, right? And her thought was, this seems really unfair that I raised our kids for 35 years and we're married, and now he's already moved on, right? And so back to we mentioned a little earlier, but the resentment that came out of what she was feeling was like, oh, we're not ready, right? All of a sudden I was like, we said it kindly, like, we coached her through it, but to realize she'd been trying to see if she was ready, but there was still so much anger, right? So much resentment. And so we were able to gear her toward, like, that's the part that you're now going to work on. Not just the recovery of trying to upend, because when you go through a divorce and there's kids involved and you're moving away and you're trying to start a new life, that's its own trauma. That's its own trauma. And then to even start thinking about, are we ready for the relationship? So Dawn, when you were talking about the heart, like literally she was touching our heart. You could feel the anger. But that was the part she had not had a chance to work on because we were doing all the other things. She was doing all the other things. And now we had moved into a state of, hey, I think this is the final thing that we need to work on to get to where she really wants to be. But it's like layers, right? Layers, and learning to check in on asking the question, and exactly what Dawn said is check in how you really feel.
How you really feel. That, anger is a fooler, because I've talked to people and they feel like they're stuck in anger and they fight it. Mm-hmm. They're like, I'm somehow wrong because I'm still so angry. But we have to remember that underneath it is fear, guilt, shame, whatever might have happened. And a lot of abuse survivors feel like shame and guilt that like somehow they were the cause of it, or how somehow they were wrong because they stayed or whatever. Mm-hmm. And but they finally get to anger, and then they think they're bad. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, anger's a level up vibrationally. Yeah. When you get to anger, that's good, because now you're getting into where your boundaries were violated, and you're starting to get clear on what you're saying is, what do I actually want? And I'm clear on that I didn't like this because I'm angry. So now let's move. And that's how you move past it. But people fight it like, I can't be angry. I'm not allowed to be angry. And then talk about a sticking point. Because you carry that around, and you'll blow up every time somebody looks at you cross-eyed.
Yeah. And some of it is like the one fellow I was telling you that just the rug was pulled from underneath him. He's in shock right now. Like, the anger hasn't even hit. And right now he's on survival. Like, they're having to sell the house. He's having to move, do all these things. And I was like, and he's all like, no, just talk nicely about her, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that's great. Like, great. But in my mind, I'm like, well, that exactly what you said. He's trying to, make things bow tied. But I'm like, this is a very big event that just happened. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, he's usually a Mr. Nice Guy. So the idea that he would be angry, I'm sure, is foreign to him. But he's going to have to experience it, right? And a lot of people don't. They think it's something terrible, and it's not. It's It's a
not.
cue. It's an absolute cue for us to go look what is causing this.
Yes, absolutely. Well, this conversation is really juicy and I'm having so much fun. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go even deeper with this topic. So stay tuned, everybody.
If you were born between December 22nd, 1973 and January 1974, this message is for you. You're entering one of the most powerful energetic windows of your lifetime, your Chiron return. The Chiron return is a cycle where the wounds we've carried for decades rise to become our greatest wisdom. 2026 is your year of preparation, a time to release what no longer resonates, rebuild your energetic foundation, and realign with your truth. Because in 2027, everything changes. I'm Dawn, and I'm just like you. I've lived the perfectionism, the control, and been accused of being emotionally detached. And I've learned that they were never flaws, they were survival codes. Now they're being rewritten. We'll use tools like quantum evaluation, creative emotional wizardry, and principles of parallel realities to help you shift timelines, from exhaustion to embodiment, from structure to sovereignty. 2026 is a year of preparation, and 2027 is a year that everything changes. And you, the Capricorn women born in 1974, are the architects of that new era. I'll see you in my Zen Heart community as we realign, recalibrate, and get ready for what's unfolding.
Hi, I am Leandra Frey. I am a life and dating coach. I help women that have gone through a divorce, widowhood, or if it's been a long time since they've been in a relationship, I help them get back on their feet, gain courage and confidence to get back into the dating world and find the love of their lives in 6 months or less. The reason I do this is, having been divorced myself, I have been out in the world, the dating world, what I would call the gauntlet. And it can be hard when you've come off a divorce, or you've come off a long time breakup, and you find yourself starting and stopping, starting and stopping. And sometimes you stop and many years can go by. And so what I'm here to do and help you is to help you along the way so that you don't give up on yourself, and that we learn to create resilience in your dating so that you can keep going and not waste 5, 7, 12 years of your life thinking there's no one out there for you. There are many people out there for you. There is someone looking for you today. So that is why I do what I do, because I love bringing people together, because we are all created for love and connection.
Is your skin aging, dry, tired, and dull? Are you putting on more and more makeup to cover the fine lines and flaws? Now you don't have to. Coolness Skincare, developed by a middle-aged woman just like you. 2 years in formulating. Pearlescent face and eye serum cream with Schisandra berries and dragon's blood extract for your face, eye, and neck. And the vegan version, Deep Love Face Cream. Powerful blue tansy. This face cream is everything you are looking for. Feel your beauty. Visit coolness.com or scan the QR code for more information.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Chronic Health Collective. I'm here with Dawn and Leandra, and we are going deep into healing old relationship wounds and being able to grow into new relationships with, that fit and are more authentic for us in our new life. So I was thinking about what you said. Well, we've talked about letting go, and we were just talking about how our emotions and our body can kind of help us with that. So Dawn, let's say we finally get brave enough to go out on a date and we feel like old residual. What can we do to, like, gauge a little bit, like, is this person really triggering me, or am I just reacting? Because, am I really seeing a red flag here, or am I just reacting out of an old pattern? Is there a way we can sort of check in with ourselves and calm it down before we either run out of the restaurant or go to Vegas and get married?
Oh my gosh. That's yeah. That's the hard question, Chrissy, because if we don't know ourselves well, then we wouldn't even know that what we're experiencing is a trigger of something that happened in the past, right? So again, ask, you really have to, I guess, ask yourself why. I don't even know, because some people just go into it and they never ever do any work on themselves at all. You know what I mean? They just go in it blind, and they suffer because they're just okay as long as they have that companion by their side, because they feel that's what they need to feel whole in their lives. So until someone really is aware of what their needs are and where they're trying to get it from, that's a really tough question to answer. But I'm going to go back to, if you have kind of, done some work on yourself in some way, shape, or form, then again, it's your body. Your body tells you everything, right? And again, it's not just about a physical pain. It could just be a reaction. Or it could be some kind of chronic condition that you develop not even knowing. And so just to give people some awareness of what they could, take a look at. If something's going on with your physical body and you're not sure why, it may be because of, some kind of trauma or some experiences or stresses that you have been experiencing and you've been suppressing, and now it's coming out, right? And whether you like it or not. But once you do decide to just take the leap and you start moving forward, and things are not going the way that you want, I would just ask the individual who's starting on that journey is, ask yourself, are you truly ready for another commitment? And are you going to show up 100% for yourself? And why is it that you feel you need that companionship, right? I mean, at the end of the day, everything that we do, no matter what it is, success in lives or whatever, we're all seeking some type of love. But we never have been told that just loving ourselves is more than enough. That love doesn't have to come in the form of companionship. I mean, some people find companionship and love not with humans. They could just be in love and have the companionship with their pet or some kind of hobby, right? And that's enough. But I think society, again, just traumatizes us and puts so much pressure on us to have it look a certain way. And like you folks were laughing about right earlier, the rom-coms.
Oh, you're right.
Oh my gosh.
That's not what it is. But yeah, that's a tough one, Kristy. You really threw me in the fire pit on that one.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
No.
Well, Leandra, let's toss this out to you as well, because so you said be willing to be in the curiosity on the date rather than in this state of, I have to make a decision about a long-term relationship with this person right now.
Yeah. That thought actually happens. It's true. I agree with everything that Dawn was saying. But usually, especially when you first get out there, sometimes even the word date just sends people off. Just their brain just goes, what? Yeah, right. So there's people that will do, meet people through things that they like to do, and I'm a big proponent of Meetup, or the Facebook groups where people are hiking or going kayaking or book club or movies or whatnot. And that is an easier way to figure out if these people if these people, but not these people, but there's men and women, but it gives you an opportunity to get to know people without the pressure of the date, where our brain does go into, oh my gosh, am I going to marry him? But anyway, that is a way. But a lot of things, even preparing for a date, preparing mentally for a date, right? If we've done the work, right, leading up to a year, and let's say, this summer, you're going to go on several dates, you're going to meet people, you're going to get online, or you're going to go to meet up. We want to be in a space that is calm, right, and relaxed. So a lot of times I'll tell people, and I did this myself when I was in a dating world, was like, I would go work out, I would go for a walk, make sure you eat, make sure you've slept, make sure you've taken care of your physical needs before you go, right? Before you show up. Because if you come rushed, going through traffic, you haven't eaten, then all of, you're dehydrated, you drank too much the night before, and if you have kids that you're still raising, you were up all night with a sick kid or even a parent, we might not be our best self. So we want to do everything we physically can to prepare for that. So I even say, speaking of pets, I'm like, take your dog for a walk, rub his belly or her belly, right? Pet your dog, like oxytocin. You talk to your dog and say, I'm going to have a great date. My dog is next to me. What do you think? Yes? Okay, great. Right? And, you leverage all your resources when you go. And then a lot of times I'll tell people, for first dates, we're not going for any more than 90 minutes. 90 minutes, you're out. Even if you're having the best date of your life, you put that timer on, alarm, whatever you want to call it, and then you say, I had a great time, must go, just to relax your nervous system, because your nervous system is already naturally up, and if you're coming from an abusive relationship or still in the past, that will help kind of calm the nervous system. Now, and then catch the thought every time you say, oh my gosh, what is this going to mean in 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But to that, we were guilty of this in our 20s, maybe as teenagers, is we would go on a date and our parents would make fun of us, and we would be planning our wedding, right, on a first or second date, right? And we would, and our parents would tell us, oh my gosh, you don't even know this guy, and you're already wanting to have babies with him, and you're like, but mom, but dad, right? And we forget we did that when we were younger, but we tend to do the opposite older. And we're like, no way. So anyway, so just be on to what your brain is doing, but there's some physical things, and those are some physical things that you could do to start coming from a space of curiosity. And then the last thing I say is go with 3 great questions that puts them at ease, and things that you would want to know, so you can get to know the person, not at that surface level of what do you do for a living, Mm-hmm. You can say, what are your 3 great accomplishments? Things like that. What are your 3 favorite movies and why? What's the latest book that you read? Right, those are easy questions, but it gets it going.
Yeah.
So.
What is something totally weird and unexpected that happened to you that that was presented? It wasn't a date, but it was a great icebreaker for
you.
And
you'd be surprised. I mean, and if you go prepared, some people think, oh, I shouldn't be prepared, but I mean, dating is the same way as networking or building rapport. That's all you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. You're asking open-ended questions. I do the same thing, when I'm talking with parents that have grown children and they want to tell them what to do. I'm like, no, not going to do that. I'm going to ask open-ended questions. Not leading questions. What answer you think you will? Well, I digress. That's a whole nother time.
We'll have to talk about that another time. But that I can see the balance here with what Dawn and Leandra are both saying, because that right there would calm things down. And then when things pop in, like Dawn said, we can check in with our bodies and go, that would be calming enough to know that if it is a red flag, we're not all freaked out. We've prepared. We're calm. We have a time limit. We've got open-ended questions. We're ready to grill. We're gonna grill him.
Poor guys.
I am not serious, but And then if there is a little red flag, it's going to be easier to tell whether it's our reaction to something that may just be an idle comment or something, or if it's like, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. So yeah, this all works together.
You gotta do the work and be introspective, check in with yourself. Your body tells you so much,
I also love the
But I
idea
just feel bad. Oh,
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh,
No, I just feel bad that there's that expectation that that first date needs to be the end all be all.
Oh, and then no one
Right.
goes on again. I have people that go on a first date and that was like the first date was terrible, and then they don't go on another date for 12 years. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we got to go on multiple boring, dull, terrible, great. You might go on some great dates.
Yeah.
Of course, we don't like the whole but I really liked him. He didn't like me. Well, that's why we keep going until we find a match.
Yeah. And I tell that to our 4 kids, is like, just date. Why are you getting so serious? Like, what's the stress for? And they're like, what is that? What does dating mean? I'm like, it's not dating. You're just meeting and getting to know a person. It doesn't have to end in marriage. Just get to know them. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, our society just messes all these people up.
Wow.
Yes, and I do blame Hollywood for a lot of it, because I don't know if you've noticed, I'm sure you have, it seems like every single show you're expected to hop in the sack on the first date, and sometimes they don't even leave the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Back, and then love comes after. And it doesn't, that is not real.
Yeah.
Don't believe it, guys. Don't believe.
Don't fall for it. Well, or they make a commitment, or they finally realize they like each other. A couple, speaking of Devil Wears Prada, they finally get it together where they're like, this is the second one. And then they sleep together right after they realize they like each other. But I'm like, you guys they were going at a nice pace. I'm like, why does that have to go right there? Right? Like, that's a whole other topic for
It's a whole other topic.
But I'm like, yeah, not on the first date.
For right now, we're all going to just calm ourselves down and allow ourselves the space to get back into dating in a calm, calm our nervous systems, check in with our bodies, listen and prep. Prep, so that we're not spiraling out of control. I love that. Thank you so much, ladies. That helped me. I've been out of dating for a long time. I just said, forget it.
Oh no. Kristy, you'll be our experiment.
So how can Dawn, let's talk about you first. How can people find you out in the world? They
can find me through my website, New Dawn Holistic Health. Or they can email me at info@newdawnholistichealth.com, or on Instagram, which is also New Dawn Holistic Health.
All right, that's easy. How about you, Leandra?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Frey Coaching, Frey, and Facebook, Leandra Frey, and also my email, freycoaching.llc@gmail. Any of those 3 places you can find me. Also have a website, but I tend to post more on those other 2. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I can attest, these women are both very worth, contact them.
Thank you.
And I'm Kristy Boyd Johnson. You can find me at narcdetoxclub.com, and watch for the webinar is going to be coming out this week. So anybody who wants to be invited, go on Narc Detox Club and send me an email, or just email me at narcdetoxclub@gmail, and I'll send you the link to the webinar. So thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you. It's fun.
This is great.
So everybody, if today's episode spoke to you, don't just watch, take action. Book your free consult with any of our expert coaches at chronichealthcollective.com for personalized support. Subscribe to our monthly magazine for powerful tips from all 10 coaches to elevate your health, mindset, and relationships. Join us live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, or catch past episodes anytime on E360 TV or YouTube at Chronic Health Collective. Thanks for tuning in, and your transformation starts with one bold step. See you next week.
Yeah.